How's it going, New York Giants fans? Welcome back to Fireside Giants with your boy Alex. Today, talking about Saquon, and Saquon. We got 5 days left until the July 17th mark where the Giants and Saquon Barkley have to come to a conclusion. Are they going to extend him? Are they going to let him play on the franchise tag? Does Saquon even want to play on the franchise tag? Well, we know that answer. He definitely doesn't. But he gets $10.1 million guaranteed at a position that obviously is vulnerable, and the Giants are sticking by their side. They're sticking with their guns. They're not budging. And according to a report by Diana Rossini of ESPN, they're currently at a stalemate. Things are not changing. And Saquon Barkley, as we all know, is a catalyst on offense. He's been here for a long time. He's been one of our only productive players, but overpaying the running back position has historically been a bad move. The Giants don't want to do that. Now you have Boomer Esiason saying, okay, like they are offering him up to $14 million. But look, base salary, $14 million per season, it means absolutely nothing, guys. It's all about the guaranteed money. Whatever they're offering him in guarantees is not enough, and that's why he hasn't signed just yet. But at some point here, Saquon may just have to take what they're offering, because otherwise, you take the risk of taking the $10.1 million guaranteed, which he should. Everybody would agree that, running back in his prime at 26 years old, skipping out on guaranteed money is a bad idea. So he's going to play on the tag. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's just a matter of, how happy is he going to be? Is he going to put in the effort? Is he going to do this? But, we know Saquon, he'll put in the effort. He'll be happy on the television. He'll do everything he's got to do to get an extension. And ultimately, like, the Giants may not be the team that gives him the extension. They may end up trading him. They may end up letting him walk next offseason. But the truth is that right now they're not willing to budge. Now, do we want Saquon to stay here? Of course we do. And he will be here for the 2023 season to continue developing this offense. And the truth is that the Giants offense is likely going in a different direction than heavily leaning on the running back position. Last year, they averaged pretty close to a similar amount of rushing yards and receiving yards per game. That's an unsustainable pace at the NFL level now. Like, you need good receiving games. You need good passing attacks. And we've talked extensively recently about Darren Waller. We talked yesterday about the copycat culture that they could kind of incorporate with Travis Kelce. With Mike Kafka, watching Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce develop this unbreakable chemistry, maybe they can do the same thing with Daniel Jones and Darren Waller, or even just a fraction of that. Would go a long way towards, offering production at a level that we haven't seen in quite a long time. Now, Saquon is still a really important part to this team, right? He had over 1,300 rushing yards last year, 57 receptions at 10 scores. I mean, that production, if it disappears overnight, it's probably going to other receivers and stuff like that. But, Saquon Barkley's impact on this team doesn't stop at his production. It stops really at the attention he commands, right? You look at Saquon Barkley on the football field. What does he do aside from touching the ball and generating yardage and scores and points and overall first downs and just keeping the defense healthy and off the field? What does he do? He commands a lot of attention. Linebackers, safeties, edge rushers, every position on the defensive side is always looking at Saquon Barkley, which is why defenses last year stacked the box against us and really limited us to a degree. Especially look what the Philadelphia Eagles did to us. They just played man coverage, or rather played a really basic zone coverage, stack the box, stop the run, and we were pretty much dead in the water. Without Saquon Barkley, our offense in the past has been pretty much nothing. And, we've retooled the offense. You go and get Jalen Hyatt, you go and get Waller, Paris Campbell, bring some guys back, take another step forward in developing the scheme. And I think we're in a pretty good spot to actually take a nice sizable jump forward in terms of production and efficiency. The question is it going to be with Saquon long-term or not? And right now, it seems to me the Giants aren't willing to budge. It seems to me that they are willing to let him play on the tag, maybe let him go next year. We'll see how it goes. But if I'm Saquon Barkley, like, what am I doing right now? Of course, you want to get the most money as possible, but at a certain point, you have to say to yourself, like, is this it? Like, is this all I'm going to get? Like, you look around you, Miles Sanders got $6 million per season. They just cut Dalvin Cook in Minnesota, and he was making $14 million, I believe, something around there. And they cut him, and he's perfectly healthy, coming off like Pro Bowl caliber seasons consistently, over 1,000 yards, pretty healthy. Like, they just cut Dalvin Cook. Like, yep, we just don't want him anymore, even though he's in his prime, even though he's producing. We just don't need that position to be the key of our offense. We can't rely on it anymore. So, the league is shifting. Everything is changing. And Saquon, recently his trainer, I think Nicholas Hill, I believe it is, said that they did a couple of sessions and Saquon was saying that I haven't felt this good in terms of running routes and my agility and my speed since my rookie season. So, of course he's saying all the right things. He's saying all the things that you want to hear from a coaching staff, or, what you want to hear from a fan base and perspective rather. So, Barkley is doing all the things he can do to boost his stock. He's saying, I've been loyal. I just want that respect back. I'm not looking for anything crazy, trying to be fair. Clearly, his agents are asking for a lot. We don't know exactly what that is, but we have to imagine, he wants $20+ million guaranteed. He wants at least 50% of that contract guaranteed. If it's 14 million over 3 years or something like that. Now, you could make the argument that tying him to the contract of Daniel Jones is a good move, right? Like Daniel Jones has signed a big 4-year deal. And ultimately the Giants can get out of that deal after the second season, I believe, with a minimal salary hit, minimal dead money. You could do the same thing with Saquon. You could say, like, let's give him a 3-year deal out after the second season. He's done at 28 years old. You move on. The question is, how much money do you want to tie into a position that you can get a lot of production out of from lesser talent? That's the perspective they're thinking. Like, we just drafted Eric Gray of Oklahoma, 3-down potential. We're going to be throwing the ball a lot. So like last year, it was like a 50-50 split of running the ball and passing the ball. Generally, you're looking at the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs. They're throwing the ball 70+%. You know what I mean? So, you're looking at Barkley, and there's going to be fewer touches for him. Like in an offense that, they'll give reps to Matt Breida if he's on the team. They'll give reps to Eric Gray. They'll give reps, most of them, to Saquon, but his touches may fall considerably. And they're probably saying to themselves, like, all right, look, if we were paying him to be the guy, the only person that we're focusing on our offense, which is what the Giants have been doing recently, makes sense to pay the guy his worth. But if we're going to reduce his touches, we actually want to spread the ball more. We want to give it to Hyatt, want to give it to Paris Campbell, wanted to give it to Wandale, to Shep, to Isaiah Hodgins, to Darren Waller, all these other guys. And then you have Daniel Bellinger, another great receiving option there that's really developing nicely. So, there's a lot of target share, a lot of ways to go with the football. And right now, Barkley is in for a role that will see a regression in terms of overall production because of the fewer targets he will get. But at the same time, as I mentioned before, that attention that he commands cannot be understated. I do believe that when Saquon Barkley is on the field, everyone is better. And you need to have players like that on your team. You want to have players that make everybody else better. Saquon is one of those guys. Isaiah Hodgins doesn't have a breakout year if Saquon isn't commanding essential attention. Allowing Daniel Jones to throw the ball effectively and do all the things that he does well. Running the football with Daniel Jones, using his legs, those options and everything they did with Saquon, baiting the defenses to follow Saquon and then Daniel Jones taking off on the other side. If you don't respect their running game, if you don't respect Eric Gray or Matt Breida, they're just going to spy on Daniel Jones. You know what I mean? Like they're just not going to even care. We can stop him. He's not going to kill us. He can't make an open field juke. He can't run through a tackle like Saquon can or jump over a guy that's standing upright. So what I'm trying to say here is that Saquon does have a tremendous amount of value. He's an asset to this offense. He's a tremendous player, a really good guy, a leader, one of those guys in the locker room that you just can't replace, essentially. But this is also a business, and we have to think of it from both perspectives, from Saquon's side and from Joe Schoen's side. Joe Schoen is following an equation. This is personally what I believe. I think the Giants are following a really strategic equation, like a mathematical equation that says, okay, this is what we need to do. This is how much we can spend on this, but anything more is high risk. Like there's probably levels, like a high risk, medium risk, and low risk. Look at guys like Paris Campbell, low risk, incentive-laced deals. Darren Waller, low risk, $4 million cap hit. You can move on. Hey, Saquon Barkley, running back position, paying him a lot, paying him more than the market value, paying him more than you would be comfortable with, high risk. Those equations you have to determine, okay, like we want to do a lot of low risk deals with quality players coming off of maybe an injured season or, not performing well. And we have a really good coaching staff. We think we can get them back on track. That's what they're doing with a lot of these guys, and then you look at Saquon Barkley, you're saying to yourself, like, all right, this is a really high risk, kind of avenue that we could go down. But the rest of the league is saying that you shouldn't do that. You look at all the players, Christian McCaffrey gets traded. This guy gets moved. Josh Jacobs is a big contract coming up. Nick Chubb gets a big deal. So like nobody knows how these running backs are going to pan out. Saquon has a really lengthy injury history, and that's the perspective of the Giants. Can we bank on him staying healthy? And if we pay him a lot of money and he gets hurt, it's just going to confirm all of our questions. And if he stays healthy and he doesn't get hurt, yes, he's a really important factor, but he's getting fewer touches anyway. So we're trying to actually factor him out of our offense, not factor him into our offense. And like, that's the argument they're probably talking to themselves about, is like, we're going to be taking this guy a little bit out of the offense, not making him even more important. So, that's where the money problem comes into play. Is like, you're not paying him because of what he's going to do. You're paying him what like you hope he does with a minimal, with a certain amount of touches that is going to progressively go down as we get more options, guys. Like, if the Giants go out and get next offseason a wide receiver 1 and Saquon Barkley's here on a monster deal, not only is there a lot of money now tied up at the running back position that you have to think about, but the same time, you go out and get a WR1 that's going to command high volume targets and a lot of reps and a lot of opportunities. And you still got Bellinger. Maybe Waller sticks around and he has a really good season. Look, like Waller's 31 years old. Travis Kelce's 34. There's some legs there. He has more time to go before you have to think about potentially moving on in the future. So, there's going to be a lot more targets, a lot more target share to spread around. And that's ultimately going to have to come from somewhere. And the league is going in the direction of taking away from the running back position. Now, with that being said, those are perspectives from what I think the team is thinking. And Barkley's obviously thinking I want the most money. I deserve it. I've been here. I've proven my health over the last season. I feel great. I think I can really make a big impact. And obviously I agree that he can. And I'd love to see Saquon get an extension. He's a fan favorite for a reason. But I also think that it needs to be fair. It needs to be an extension that doesn't put us in a really bad salary cap spot down the road, but also protects our interests. We need to be protecting our salary cap health. We need to be thinking about positional value, where other extensions need to go. We have to extend Andrew Thomas, Xavier McKinney, and left tackle is way more important than pretty much every other position aside from quarterback. So these are things that we need to start thinking about. Dexter Lawrence just got a big deal that's going to kick in next year. There's a lot of money the Giants need to throw around, and Saquon Barkley, unfortunately, not because of the guy himself, but because of the position he's in, is getting the short end of the stick. It sucks to watch because we all love him so very much, and he's such a great guy, such a great player. But it's just the truth of what the NFL is going in right now. Now, as I said, hope it gets done. Hope they can find an extension. But the very, very least, we know Saquon's going to be here for 2023, and he's likely going to play on the franchise tag because, to be quite honest, he doesn't really have a choice. So either he takes a deal the Giants are given, or he settles to play on the tag and is a little bit unhappy for the season, and it is what it is, and he tries to get an extension elsewhere, maybe force his way out via trade, which is definitely something that he could try to do. But guys, love to hear perspectives below, as always, in the YouTube comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Giants episode.